Welcome back here, ladies and gentlemen, to the Arena World Championship, the first tournament of the new patch 8.2 here in World of Warcraft in Azeroth. And we have our next series of the day, Diabolus playing against Change My Mind. Obviously, we're fresh off the bat of Method Black with a dominant victory against Zyzon, so we will see Zyzon in our next series playing against Wildcard Gaming, which is going to be a fantastic one. The two kind of Cleave players going at it. Looking forward to that. But first, we have to get the battle to see who will play against Method Black on Sunday here between the former AWC and Change My Mind, who have been getting better and better since they kind of accidentally discovered that, hey, we have a pretty good Rogue Shadow Priest on our team with Velai and Acro combining at the Spring Finals to get them, I believe, a 4th place finish in that tournament. So very strong from them. These are two teams that have gone back and forth. A lot of you guys think that Change My Mind's going to take it, but I certainly wouldn't be so sure counting out Diabolus this early on.
I mean, definitely not. Diabolus, a team full of surprises. Alec, Nixie, and Asgrath known for that rogue mage druid, but they have a side of Walrix, and we haven't really seen Walrix implemented too much so far. Curious to see if they are going to be implementing him in this game number 1. Change My Mind, they're going to be
good prediction, yeah.
A good prediction, yes. Change My Mind, they're going to be leading with the Shadow Priest rogue Restoration druid. That's a kind of composition we talked about them accidentally discovering that worked out really well for them.
Not bad.
Yeah, and this is an interesting
Well, they were forced to because they didn't have Fried Kitty at the Spring Finals, so they were forced to try the Shadow Priest Rogue, and then they're like, oh, actually, this is way better. So Diabolus were anticipating that they'd play Rogue Shadow Priest into Rogue Mage, so they tried to preempt that in the blind pick by running this Arms Warrior Destruction Warlock, a composition that we haven't seen for some time in competitive arena play. I feel like the last time this comp was really powerful was maybe the Burning Crusade, quite a long time ago, but in 8.2 with those Arms Warrior changes, the increase in stamina, Destruction Warlock's much more durable, Restoration Druid's just a solid healer. This is a composition that has come to the forefront, and now we're going to get to see it play out in real time.
Yeah, who are they going to go after? It's a Mind Bomb onto Asgrath, out of a Silence, into a Sap. Nice control from Change My Mind, and now it's Walrix that's in trouble, already activating the Unending Resolve. Looks like Minpoike is going to be moving in, lands the bash into a smoke bomb. Perfect crowd control from Change My Mind. Safeguard gets dispelled. Rallying Cry comes in. Walrix still on the back foot. Dispel's coming in after Dispel from Valet. A nice Cyclone coming in from Minpoike. If they have any more crowd control on Asgrath, this game could just be over.
I think it is just over. Veteruki right here. Hellstone, Swiftman, maybe not. Asgrath gets blind. He gets a Nourish. Gets another Nourish. Those Nourishes not really moving Walrix's health too much so here. If Acrolos gets a proc on this Vision of Perfection, he could get a Vendetta for a few seconds and maybe just have enough damage to just kill Walrix. I mean, the pressure is insane right now from Change My Mind early on. They've gotten pretty much every single defensive cooldown from Diabolus, but now that that initial momentum has waned away, I want to see what Diabolus can get done. Who are they going to go after? Because so far, the damage output onto Acro and Valet, it's not really that high. Finally, some damage on Valet below half health. Asgrath and a Cyclone. And Minpoike getting crowd control there, which actually means that Walrix is the one that's going to have this turned against him. Iron Bark connects right between the crowd control, so Walrix is a bit more durable. Lobbing out a couple Chaos Bolts, gets silenced on the second one. Acro backs up Valet. Valet repositions at the pillar. Doesn't want to be tanking too many of those Chaos Bolts. Likely that Walrix is running the Vision of Perfection as well. I'm just going to double check that he is. This is very powerful for Destruction Warlocks as it summons in an Infernal for a little bit of time. He's actually not. He's running the Conflict and Strife, so trying to get a little bit of extra durability in this particular matchup. Walrix focused much more on defense and survivability. Although we've seen when players are doing this right now with the Essences, they lose out on some huge damage bonuses that may have actually been able to net themselves a kill. I definitely don't think the Essences have been figured out just yet, but that seems to be the trend. When you expect to be the target, you're running that Conflict and Strife, get the extra versatility, a little bit more survivability as well, some extra honor talents. Nixie now gets swapped to by Change My Mind, that Mind Bomb crowd control into a Sap. Nixie in so much trouble. Acro might just outright kill him. He trinkets out of the Stormbolt to keep the chain going. Does he have a Shadow Melt Sap maybe? No, a Cyclone, diminishing return, but even at diminishing return, it should be more than enough. Nixie on 1% is going to fall. Change My Mind, take game 1.
Yeah, really well played by Change My Mind. They actually had a really aggressive setup as well. Vilai wasn't even using the Void Shift. He wasn't using that 6-minute life swap. He was running Mind Trauma instead for stealing the haste from Warwicks, basically denying any openings for Diabolus. I love to see these guys coming up with innovative strategies, and they look really strong here in game 1.
Yeah, and this is not good for Diabolus because I think Change My Mind didn't predict that they were going to go against, you know, Warrior Warlock, but I'm pretty sure Diabolus kind of knew that they were probably going to go against this Shadow Priest Rogue here. And this is what we've been seeing from Change My Mind, even in the last patch. Very, very similar strategy here. A lot of single target damage. They go for these big CC chains with the silence into the Mind Bomb. They're usually followed up by saps as well. And then Mimpoike getting low clones, getting clones on, you know, the follow-up target, the healer, and there it is. Silence, Mind Bomb, Kidney Shot this time around onto Nixie because he did use his trinket. Then the War Banner, unfortunately, I believe it's out of range there, so he doesn't actually get to prevent that CC chain there from Asgarath. And of course the DR Cyclone from Mimpoike, die by the sword, not gonna be enough as it is popped way too late, and Acro with a Swift and Venom there at the end takes Nixie down.
Their CC chains are so on point too. It's so beautiful to watch these Rogue Shadow Priests. Obviously in North America, we get one per region, right? Like in North America, you got WizK and Peekaboo. They just look on point every single game. Here you've got Acro, Lols, and Villi doing the same job here, essentially. You know, Mind Bombs, always perfect saps to follow up. It's such a delight to watch players play this comp.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of crowd control, and it is beautiful setups. It kind of reminds you of how Rogue Mage kind of used to play back in the day in these
before
big...
it just did damage.
Yeah. In these big all-in attempts where, you know, they're throwing in, you know, not only the Maledict, but beautiful cross-crowd control, big burst damage. Like you said, that Mind Trauma is actually really interesting as well. You can channel out the Mind Flay to steal some of the haste from Walrix. It just makes it a disaster for Walrix to get the defensive fears out that he really needs. And I think it's just really well played by Change My Mind, and it really shows what a high level these guys are playing at.
Yeah, they're playing fantastically, and I mean, we might have that kind of show match between Acrolols and Waz once again on Sunday. If it does continue this way, it's kind of looking like it might, the way that these guys are playing. But obviously Diabolus, they have a lot of compositions at their disposal. They should theoretically have some sort of answer here to the Rogue Shadow Priest Druid. So with that said, do we expect to see it locked in once again by Change My Mindset?
I don't think we see the Warrior Warlock again. That looked really not good for them, especially in the initial seconds. I think something else is definitely going to have to be on the table. I mean, either the Rogue Mage or the Warlock Mage. I feel like the Warlock Mage wouldn't be... Well, actually, I can't say that.
Cloud9 lost.
I saw Cloud9 get just
this
destroyed. But Cloud9 got destroyed on Rogue Mage and their Mage Warlock. I think Snuts came in and won one game, but on a different map ended up losing it. I think the Rogue Mage looked much more even. I think that's probably Diabolus' best option in terms of what I'm assuming that they have available for the tournament. Of course, they could have prepared something that we haven't seen before for 8.2, but based on what I've seen from them in the past, what they've had success with, and what makes the most sense, and Cloud9 able to find at least a game victory against the move in North America, I think that the Rogue Mage Druid, watching Method Black playing Rogue Mage Druid and having success, I feel like it's something that they're likely to switch to.
Yeah, I mean, there was one tournament, I think it was Cup 2, where Method Black literally went, what, 7-0, I think it was, against Change My Mind, just running that Rogue Mage Druid.
Yeah, so Change My Mind already lost a whole bunch of games towards Rogue Mage Druid, but the thing is, Change My Mind, that was on the previous patch, and now we assumed that Shadow Priests were going to be weaker in this patch, but they don't look weaker.
Boy, were we wrong,
I think Shadow Priests actually look kind of better than they did last patch, so I'm not entirely sure how that matchup would play out now. It would be interesting to see it, though, for sure, so I got to agree with Sid. I would like to see it locked in from Diabolus, that Rogue Mage Druid that we know they're so good at.
I mean, not to derail the conversation entirely here, but was kicking Jamie a mistake from Diabolus? Because, you know, they came second at the spring finals. They had an absolutely fantastic spring season toward the end. They got better and better. And now with Rorik, every single time he comes in, it seems like they lose. Not necessarily because he's a bad Warlock. He's really fucking good, or he's really good, but he's just really not what this team needs. This team needs cleaves. They always used to play the Rogue Mage. They always used to play the cleaves. And here, you know, they just can't do it. They can't play the cleaves. It's not enough.
It was a mistake.
It was a mistake. That's why
I will just say it with
Anyone
confidence.
else want to agree?
It was a mistake.
Well, we don't know the inner dynamics of the team,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, that's the thing.
I think
on paper,
just a hunch that I have, maybe they weren't getting along too well.
Yeah,
maybe some members of the team, and from what I heard, Warrix and Asgarath are super good friends.
Yeah.
They get along very, very well, so it could be something as simple as, hey, I just like this guy a lot more, and I want to play with him.
The better
right?
solution to that, like at face value, in terms of value, Jamie had way more value on this team with the classes that he brought.
I don't disagree with that.
Personality, then work that out. Just be like, hey, I don't like when you do this when we're practicing. Let's sort this out. Like, let's have a little sit down. Like,
sometimes, you know, things happen, and it's just like, you know what, we can't work this out. Let's just go our own separate ways. You know, these things happen in esports, so it could have been something like that. We don't really know for
It's
sure.
definitely working for Jamie, I gotta say that much.
Yeah, I mean, Jamie seems to have bounced back in a pretty good spot, but why Warwicks though? I mean, maybe they saw...
Why Warwicks? Cloud9.
Yeah.
That's literally why.
But it's a bit too late, don't you think, to pick up? Oh,
Hey,
that's one comp that hasn't been able
to
lose. Oh, let's pick it up. It's like a couple of weeks before the patch and play it. I mean, did they even play MLD actually?
No.
Even last patch? I don't think they did. So, I mean, it's got to be because Warwicks is just such a lovable character. And
he is a great guy.
I mean, he really just gets along with everybody on Diabolus, if I were to guess.
If Demonology or Affliction are ever the best spec, then Warwicks is probably the better pickup overall than Jamie. But so far, Demonology and Affliction have just been kind of forgotten and just left. So I don't know.
For good reason.
In terms of the meta, like, I don't think Warwicks is a higher value than Jamie. But of course, if they're not getting along, which I think you'd be better off hiring, maybe like the better move would have been maybe to hire like a team coach or something to try and talk through some interpersonal difficulties, then to replace the player. Okay.
Diabolus, just DM Super Tease on Twitter, and
yes, I will fix all of your interpersonal problems.
Okay, well there we go. Super Tease will fix the problems, but Warwick, I mean, I get why. Like, even I clearly get emotionally invested into talking about Warwick. Love this guy. He's not playing in the game though. It is their patented Rogue Mage Druid here coming in for game 2 on Diabolus.
Yeah, changed my mind. Perfect crowd control in the last game. What are they going to be able to get done this game? Already good CC coming from Diabolus as they have initial momentum. Valet taking some pressure for the full blind on him in Poike. He trinkets out. Doesn't want to fall too far behind. I think it's a fair trade. Alec with the Kleptomania removes all those heal over time effects. And Asgrath to the nice Cyclone denies the healing from Minpoike, and Valet still sitting at low health.
All right, Valet. Now he's looking to re-engage with crowd control on Asgarath. Nixie anticipated this attack, feinting before the stun, reducing a lot of pressure. Good moves by Nixie there. Now he's trying to escape to safety with that sprint, but the Gladiator's Maledict has stacked up quite high over time. Asgarath is going to have to dispel that. Now he's not going to be able to dispel crowd control, though really not many crowd control effects for him to actually dispel in this particular matchup. No opportunity to punish there. Smoke Bomb. Big push here by Nixie. Maybe a bait. They go for Smoke Bomb, but no cooldowns. This is to either try and bait or maybe even just outright force him. They at least get the Gladiator safeguard, but now Akra looks to reverse with a Smoke Bomb of his own. Valet going to drop out into that Void form. Tons of damage there. Onto Nixie. Gladiator's Maledict has stacked up quite high. A lot of healing absorption on Nixie. He's going to use Cloak of Shadows to strip that effect off and prevent Valet from finishing him off. Now looking to reverse pressure for himself. Kidney Shot Vendetta, good combo. Minpoike's in crowd control. Akra is still pressuring back. Is Nixie going to fall before Valet? And it's looking like that's more likely. Asgrath uses Iron Bark. That stalls it out, but Valet has time to mass dispel the Cyclone. It gets Minpoike out and gets him about and some heals here. Valet's going to stabilize. I don't think mana is really going to be too much of a deciding factor right now with the current essences, so the mana bars of the healers are a bit deceiving, especially when it's a restoration druid. I think much more so it's about the cooldowns before dampening, certainly, and then deeper into dampening is going to be the main point of contention. And Poike being pressured a bit, but he's recovering quite comfortably now. In position to crowd control Asgarath. Good crowd control attempt here with the Mind Bomb out of the stun. Nixie stunned at the same time. The coordination from Change My Mind is certainly there here. They're looking strong in this series. I would say that they're in a favorable position at this moment in time.
Yeah, Nixie's still sort of dancing, trying to survive. There's a full Ring of Frost now on him in Poike, followed up by a Cyclone. Good crowd control coming in from Diabolus. Valet in midfield, a little bit exposed. He gets interrupted. Big burst damage coming in. Alex managed to find the Frostbolt. Gets him down a little bit low, but Valet gets caught into a Cyclone. Asgaroth now into a blind. What is he going to do? He has his trinket, his Gladiator's Medallion, but he's not deciding to use it. Acro goes for the sap play, now opening up on a Nixie. Asgaroth, this might have been a mistake. If he falls behind, might be difficult for him to recover. He sits through the sap, the blind, now a Cyclone. Now dispels Nixie. If there's a follow-up silence coming in from Valet, this could be lights out for Nixie. There's the silence, and if Asgaroth has to trinket out of this, it was not the most intelligent move to wait, but he does manage to let that greed pay off. And in the meantime, Diabolus is able to force out the dispersion from Valet, as well as a Gladiator Safeguard. Now Valet's actually in trouble. Minpoike still in Polymorph. Valet with a nice Mass Dispel. Manages to find it. He has the Void Shift. He has the Greater Fade if he needs to survive, but a nice Cyclone coming in from Asgaroth. Delays the heals from Minpoike. Both teams playing at such a high level. Diabolus
have certainly been able to climb themselves back into this game, in particular getting a lot of cooldowns from Valet in quick succession. Nixie again anticipating the attack, activates Cloak of Shadows right before being stunned. High awareness from Nixie defensively in this particular match, making it much easier for Asgaroth to recover and opening up Asgaroth to get these critical Cyclones at low health. Importantly, denying the Vampiric Embrace of Valet during that crowd control. Now Valet getting stunned up, but Minpoike will use his Gladiator's Medallion to break crowd control and heal. Vendetta available for Nixie, and no dispersion for Valet. And is Valet running human? I think he has got every man for himself, so likely he'll have that for a every man for himself Void Shift combo to survive the Vendetta. But if he gets smoke bombed and no one's in line of sight, Nixie has a big opportunity here to net a kill. They've got to be ready for it. Nixie is still expecting to be stunned here very soon. He activates Feint, but Acro held on to it. Now Nixie's going for the Vendetta play, but he gets reverse stunned on. Acro looking to lead for the kill on Nixie. How much? He doesn't have anything really to survive. Asgaroth in a bash. Nixie very low on health, trying to vanish and silence up Valet. Gladiator Safeguard going to be a big shield exactly when Nixie had pretty much nothing left, and now Nixie recovers as a result. Asgaroth mana is very low in this position comparatively to Minpoike, but again, I'm not sure if it's ever going to actually totally run out with those new essences, so it's deceivingly low. You can already see it bouncing back quite quickly to 50%, so I would say it's more so about momentum and crowd control and burst, and basically not about mana whatsoever in this current meta.
Ooh, kidney shot on Valet. He has the dispersion, he has the fade. Is he going to be able to greet it with just the fade? Nice life grip coming in from Valet on him, and Poike freeing him up from that Ring of Frost, but Alec didn't waste it. Really nicely done. Also manages to sneak in the poly. Now Valet getting bursted down, forced into the dispersion. Now, there's no Void Shift. There's no fade, there's no dispersion. He still has the Void Shift, so there is some defense here for Change My Mind. I think he actually has a Gladiator Safeguard. It does proc, and Poike has a little bit of work to do ahead of him. There's the Safeguard, actually. Big shields, gets the spell there. Nicely done by Alec. Waiting for that Kleptomania spell steal to remove that massive shield coming in from the Safeguard, allows him to keep up the pressure.
Yeah, Valet in a lot of trouble. There's not much left here. Void Shift, but he wants to hold on to it as long as possible. Asgaroth sitting through a Mind Bomb. No follow-up, but Nixie trades anyway, his Evasion and Cloak of Shadows. It looks like he just wants to get aggressive and close the game out. He knows that he's pretty close, but Acro is on his heels trying to peel him away, doing his best, but not enough damage to kill him. Asgaroth recovers with the Swift Mend. Valet is isolated. Double Ring of Frost into Cyclone. Beautifully set up here by Alec. Valet going to fade. He's immune to damage and crowd control. He's retreating away while Minpoike is crowd control, but Alec is right on top of him with that Ray of Frost. Asgaroth switches the Cyclone over, halting Valet's recovery. Nixie looks like he wants to move over for a stun on him in Poike, maybe? He's sitting right on top of him. He's going to stun him. Void Shift right before getting silenced. That could have been lights out for Valet, sneaking in that defensive cooldown. But now they see the opportunity. They spell off the Gladiator Safeguard from Acro and look for the kill onto him. How is Acro? I'm so surprised to not just see him disappear from the arena in that stun. Minpoike Cyclone, but Acro makes the trade, the Cloak of Shadows, recovering with that Crimson Vial, and will be A-okay. But a full polymorph now on Minpoike. Two members of the team in a bit of trouble. Even though Asgaroth is low on mana, those essences still recovering him into the fight at this point, so I'm not sure if that significant lead that Minpoike has is really going to be of too much concern. Valet has Dispersion for the next exchange, which may be here happening momentarily. Nixie is stunned, no Iron Bark. Asgaroth has to power through this. Minpoike has Innervate, so his heals are at least all free during this period of time. Managing to buy quite a lot of heals, but really not doing too much. Valet so low on health. Minpoike is just struggling to deal with the pressure here as dampening gets higher and higher. These assassination rogues become impossible to deal with.
Yeah, Alec putting out big damage here. Cyclone on Valet, Cyclone on Alec. Both the casters going to be frozen in time right now from that Druid crowd control. 17% dampening. Silence on Asgaroth. The kidney shot over on Nixie. It's good counter pressure on Valet at the same time. Who's going to fall first? Valet does have the dispersion. He has the fade, but he gets interrupted. Do they have the burst to take him down? Doesn't look like it just yet. Kleptomania Spellsteal comes in. Now Minpoike has to play catch-up, but he's in a bash. Full polymorph coming in from Alec. Very nicely done. Defensive smoke bomb gets dropped out by Acro. and a nice life grip going to be bringing Pinpoike into that Blizzard, breaking the Polymorph. Unfortunately for him, Asgaroth does manage to find the Cyclone. And now Valet still in a lot of trouble. He has the Dispersion. Is he going to be able to get it off? Greater Fade already traded out. Doesn't want to greet it too much. Looking for the cast, Safeguard, and Ironbark. Ultimately enough for him to survive. He still has the Dispersion, but that's the last line of defense.
All right, let's see if the Dispersion is enough here for Valet. Pinpoike activates Ironbark right before the Smoke Bomb. That's a lot of added defense, allowing Valet to make it out of the Smoke Bomb without having to trade Dispersion. It's going to be very important for him to hold on to as long as possible for a push to kill Nixie. I'm almost wondering if at some point we see Asgaroth targeted. I think it's unlikely with the Mind Bomb selected from Valet. Dispersion is forced with 2 members in crowd control and Change My Mind. Diabolus are taking control of this game, and if I'm Asgaroth right now, I am smiley face about the new mana regeneration essences. Otherwise, he would be completely out of mana at this point, or would have at least had to have drink. He wouldn't be able to go for these Cyclones, so those essences are definitely high value for Asgaroth. He can keep this fight going for some time, even being so low on mana. Crowd control secured. I'm not sure if Ironbark will be enough here at 27% dampening. Valet fades on top of it to immune the Frostbolt, but Fade will be fading shortly. Big flurry from Alec, gets stunned away from Acro. Pinpoike triggers a Cyclone. He's now susceptible to blind moving forward. They're still not recovering, even with Pinpoike out of crowd control. Dampening here, 28%. Valet Cyclone at low health, denying Pinpoike's heals even further. Asgaroth can freely trinket this blind. I'm almost surprised to not see him just do so. I guess if he can get away with it, he may as well. Looks like he's not able to sap it either. They silence instead. Counterspell Pinpoike. Alex sets up for the win here. If they get any crowd control off that, doesn't look like anyone's in position. Pinpoike connects a couple of heals, but still dampening is very high at this point, 31%. Ironbark activated, gonna be fading here shortly. Cycloned. I mean, Diabolus have full control of the match right now. Asgaroth getting tons of Cyclones. There's the blind to close the game out. Fade is going to be ending. They grip Pinpoike to try and stop the sap, but it's not enough. Sap is secured. Valet is somehow still holding on to dear life at this point, but ultimately will fall. Diabolus tie the series 1-1.
Yeah, Dispersion was so close to coming off cooldown. It was like a 2-second remaining on that one, but obviously clean play from Diabolus. This was the matchup we wanted to see, and they executed perfectly.
Yeah, and this is kind of what we expect from their Rogue Mage, and all of a sudden, all that pressure that we saw, just gone.
Yeah.
You see the Rogue Mage, you know, they're doing the clean setups, they get the bash, follow it up with Polymorphs, follow it up with Rings of Frost, and every single time they do it off cooldown, they bank a cooldown, like a defensive cooldown for a delay, and eventually they just manage to wither them down, slowly but controlledly winning. And of course, Asgaroth as well, with a lot of these new essences, like the Ever-Rising Tide, is just able to keep his team in the fight, despite, you know, being completely out of mana, basically. You can see his mana bar constantly ticking back and forth. And here, Pinpoike is playing completely on max range because he trinketed outside of a blind earlier. Nixie is moving towards Pinpoike to get the blind. Asgaroth is cycloning Valet to give Nixie time to do so, and there it is. Blind has been set up. Acro is cross crowd controlled. Valet can't really do anything but grip, and you can see right here, I mean, there's 5 seconds left on that dispersion. 4, 3, yeah, about 3 seconds left when he goes down there at the end. So unfortunately for him, not going to be enough, but I also think Diabolus had, you know, quite a bit left on that CC chain, so they might have been able to kill him regardless of that.
Yeah, it was looking good for them either way, right? And that pressure, as you say, from the Shadow Priest Rogue just completely dwindles against the Rogue Mage Druid under that much pressure. Question is, what's Changed My Mind got up their sleeve? Because now they're up against it, the series tied 1-1. You know what? I think this is actually our first series of the day where we've had a tied series when we go into the intermission. Actually tied 1 apiece here between Change My Mind and Diabolus, and it really does speak to the fact that these are two teams on the up and up, but they haven't been top performers. You know, last time we saw Change My Mind falling to DHDK early in the tournament. Diabolus as well, we want to expect great things from them, but without Jamie, they've been kind of hit and miss as well. What will it take for these two rosters to really kind of make it to the level of now Zyzon and Method Black in your opinion, Dan?
Well, I feel like for the one thing Method Black has going for them is they can play everything. Like they play the cleave setups, they play the spellcaster cleaves, they play the the melee caster healers. any single composition that's going to be good. You know, we've seen Chaz, he can play every single healer, and I think that's why Method Black is a cut above the rest, is because it really doesn't matter. We can go into 8.2, we can go into 8.3, we can go into next expansion. We know these guys will play whatever it takes. They'll practice 8 hours a day, every single day, to, you know, give them the edge that they need. And I think that's one of the things not every team does, and I think that's why Method Black has such a big advantage. And I mean, it's clear when you watch these tournaments.
Yeah, and this is the real dilemma here for Change My Mind, because, I mean, we want to say that they're great. We want to say that this is a team on a new turn, like new leaf turn for these guys, but ultimately, they always find a comp that they can't beat, and then they just keep running the same composition into it. I want to quickly, before we hop into the game here, get your take on this one, Zico, because they just lost this matchup, and once again, they're locking in the Shadow Priest Rogue Druid here.
Yeah, Change My Mind, sorry. 0-8 on broadcast against the Rogue Mage Druid so far. We'll see if they can make it 0-9, or if they are going to go with the obvious answer in my head, which is to just mirror.
Yeah, why don't they do that?
They must just be scared, question. I think.
I guess so. I guess they're just scared.
Why? They're really good.
I remember at the spring finals, everyone was saying, even Method Black was saying that they couldn't mirror Diabolus, which is so crazy to think about, Red.
They're a great mirror team.
Yeah, I mean, they have been for a really long time as well. Nixie and Alec together, they always seem to just make it work, especially with Asgrath. So if they can force Change My Mind to this composition where it's essentially a losing composition and there's no threat of a mirror match, then I don't know. I feel like some of these Rogue Mage teams, they need to work on their mirror matchup skills.
But Cloud9 was actually losing as their Rogue Mage to the Shadow Priest Rogue Druid, but maybe Cloud9's Rogue Mage Druid not to the same caliber.
Well, you said it was a pretty even matchup, right?
It felt like it was fairly even. I feel like the Rogues were actually targeting each other a lot more than we see in this particular matchup. Nixie is just gunning down either Valet. Actually, in this position, Poike trying to mix it up here maybe on hook point, a small map. Definitely a good strategy to go after a healer on a small map. They can't really escape too easily. They overextend, catch them in a swap, but now Nixie is being the target of choice for Acro start to finish. Asgrath jumping into the smoke bomb, dispelling off some of the damage to try and save Nixie, but even still not enough. Cloak of Shadows forced to be traded during this assault. Acro continues the chain with a sap. Nixie on the run. Alec Frostnova's Acro, that beautiful Frostnova. Nixie's on such low health, but it stalled Acro long enough for Asgrath to get out of crowd control and now stabilize Nixie. Alex setting up again with good crowd control of the polymorph on Minpoike, but it's still his team that is falling behind. Nixie's just been at 50% health for some time. Asgrath is struggling.
Yeah, and there's still good pressure on Valet, but Nixie's the one that's in trouble. Asgrath's caught into a full Mind Bomb, and you can see Nixie's got no Cloak of Shadows. The only defense he really has is the Smoke Bomb, which he could trade out, but obviously wants to save that as an offensive tool, as well as his evasion. But through good kiting, heal over time effects from the Restoration Druid Asgrath, Nixie does manage to survive. There's good peels coming from Alec as well. A Frostnova on Acro with a Polymorph on Valet, now a Cyclone onto Valet. Just good control from Diabolus, putting them back into the game.
Yep, Diabolus definitely playing well here in game number 3, looking like they could just take this if Change My Mind don't change comp or maybe strategy here in this particular matchup. Diabolus looking very similar to how Method Black was earlier in the tournament in terms of their control. Nixie the target again. Asgrath denies the kill with Iron Bark. Mana really not too significant in this current build with the essences the Druids are running. So I think it's almost not even worth paying too much attention to the mana in this particular matchup. Any lead there is going to be reestablished by the essences, so it's really just all about crowd control and cooldown management. In this position, Nixie traded a pretty powerful cooldown evasion, which is basically guaranteed that he'll survive for the couple of seconds that it's active. But now it is over. Acro sees that opportunity, goes for a stun, and then tries to do some damage, but not enough. Minpoike decides to Cyclone Nixie and stall it out. Acro looking like he wants to move away and anticipate the attack of Nixie. They know Nixie has Vendetta available. They're preparing for that and how they want to deal with it. The best way they could deal with it would be Iron Bark, but you cannot use Iron Bark when you're crowd controlled, and Minpoike is running Relentless this time around, so he's stuck in this full blind and sap. So because Minpoike is in crowd control and not able to use Iron Bark, Valet will use Dispersion instead. I think this is a wise move here, as he would have to commit even further cooldowns should he try to be more greedy, use something like Fade that's on such a short duration. Valet also running the Psy Fiend, trying to maybe get some added pressure, some healing reduction from that Honor talent, but this Psy Fiend, according to the UI, had like 100% uptime, and they didn't even scratch the surface of Diabolus' health there. which is greatly unfortunate for Change My Mind here. About 1 minute and 4 seconds away from dampening. Likely going to be a necessity for both these teams in this matchup.
Yeah, and Poike still being just tunneled down by Nixie and by Alec. There's good control coming in from Diabolus, just freezing Valet, freezing Acro, not allowing them to help Poike, and he's basically in this 1v3 situation. Finally, a kidney shot over onto Alec, and Change My Mind might have to change their target. Going after Nixie doesn't seem to be the best so far. They need to start developing some pressure onto Alec in the matchup. Obviously, the Frostmage is a very durable target, but if they can sort of control him and stop him from getting out the polymorphs, stop him from getting out the frostbolts, they might be able to take him down. Now an attempt over on Poike. Good control coming in from Diabolus. Poike is still just so low. And the strategy Diabolus is implementing where they're just controlling up the DPS and training down the healer, this is something we often see from rogue mages, and it just makes it really difficult for Change My Mind to get any damage rolling.
Yep, if they can keep stalling the damage, maintain the lead, get into dampening, then really it should be them who can snowball this game completely out of control. If Diabolus win this game, I would like to see Change My Mind switch to the Rogue Mage Druid themselves and go for the mirror. They've had no success with the Shadow Priest Rogue into Rogue Mage against Method Black, and now it's looking like they're struggling even with Diabolus. I think something more important to note would be the point standing. I mean, Change My Mind are at 120, Wildcard Gaming 120, Chucky Milkman at 120. They're all tied. And right now, the winner of this, if Diabolus manages to do it, they could scratch ahead in terms of the overall point standings. They're at 80. That would definitely be a big win for them. They could pass all of the teams. I mean, every other team would be in the lower bracket or eliminated at this point. This could be Diabolus' tournament to get back into a top 3 if Zyzon doesn't have a great performance as well. So I will say that this matchup means a lot for Diabolus, and it's looking good so far.
I mean, so far, so good. Good control, good damage. Poike did stabilize, though, and now an attempt from Change My Mind. Nixie forced to trade out the Cloak of Shadows. He managed to hold on to, his Gladiator Safeguard, his evasion, a lot of his defensive cooldowns, but that Cloak of Shadows is just such a massive cooldown. It frees him from all the Shadow Priest damage over time effects, allows him to get off the wound poison, and now without that available, he's definitely going to be vulnerable. But he just has so much defense still left to work with. I don't know if Change My Mind is going to be able to take him down.
I'm not sure if they will. Maybe we see a switch to Alec at some point. I will say that when I watched Cloud9 in this matchup against the Move, rogues were literally just targeting each other. It was a bit of a race to see which rogue could kill the other first. So it's a bit surprising that Nixie isn't being punished nearly as much for overextending to chase Valet down as I would have anticipated based on how the matchup played in North America in the open bracket on GCD TV. But now in this position, 11% dampening, reducing the healing even further over time at the top of your screen. Over time, that's just going to continue to ramp up in terms of intensity. Mana still pretty much a non-factor, especially for the builds that the Restoration Druids are running with the Ever-Rising Tide and the Memory of Lucid Dreams. I don't think that mana is going to be the win condition for either side. It's just going to be a big push during deep dampening, or potentially a throw in terms of cooldown management prior to that point. So far, neither team making a mistake, so dampening will likely continue to rise, but it is an inevitability at that point, and at chaotically high levels of dampening, cross kills are possible. In this position, Acro is set up perfect crowd control to take out Nixie. Nixie drops a defensive smoke bomb to try and prevent Valet from finishing him off. The defensive smoke bomb bought him just a little bit of time there. The Colo smoke bomb keeps Nixie alive. A couple of extra seconds for Asgarath to finally pull him back into the fight.
Yeah, but Asgarath, he had to trinket out of a silence. He sat through all of that crowd control and had to trinket out of the silence anyways. Now, full blind secured. Can Nixie survive? He has to get out of line of sight of Valet. Alec, he knows it's panic time. He trades out the ice block. That defensive cooldown, he uses it offensively to try to help out his team the best he can, spamming out the polymorphs. Nixie's just still so low into a full kitty shot. He's got the trinket, trades it out with the feint. He has the Cloak of Shadows. He wants to hold on as long as he can. Asgarath has to connect heals. We're at 20% dampening, and a nice Cyclone comes in from Poike, freezing Nixie's health. What is Asgarath going to be able to do? Nixie, good heals coming in. He gets topped off right away, and now he can continue to get aggressive.
All right, Vendetta available. Nixie looking to push for a win here. Who is he going to go after? There's so many juicy targets here at 21% dampening. Effectively anyone on the team. Nixie has a smorgasbord really right in front of him. Who is he going to eat first is the question. The Rogue Shadow Priest or the Druid? What? A smorgasbord. Is
I've
that
never
not?
heard
Does
of
that
that.
not exist in Europe?
Maybe it does.
No, it does.
That's
It's
a
from
North
Sweden.
American thing, I guess.
No, we definitely know what that is.
doesn't
I
sound
don't
very
think it's from
English,
North
yeah.
America.
It's a Swedish thing.
Oh, it's a Swedish thing. We learned something new
Educate me
today.
later, yeah.
All right, well, let's pay attention. Acro getting a little bit low. Gladiator Safeguard's going to proc. Asgroth in crowd control once again, but it's just Diabolus. They have all the momentum. There's a full cyclone on him in Poike. Acro, he's in trouble. He's got no Cloak of Shadows. Can Alec and Nixie take him down? Counter kidney shot coming in from Acro to slow down some of the damage. There is a Vendetta available for Acro, but there's no openings. I mean, look, Nixie's got all his defensive cooldowns rotated back up. He's chilling hard. You can see Acro's the one that's in trouble. Iron Bark and Feint trade out, make him tanky. We're at 27% dampening right now. Both the Druids doing healthy on mana. Full Ring of Frost being channeled out by Alec. Unfortunately misses on him in Poike. Now Nixie in a kidney shot. Acro still just not getting topped off, and Poike definitely has a little bit of work cut out for him.
All right, Poike now almost completely out of mana, but maybe it's deceiving. We'll have to wait and see. Dampening, though, is continuing to rise, almost at 30% healing reduction at this point in time. Asgrath jumps over to secure crowd control. This could be trouble. Acro sees it, activates Feint, but that's now over, and Diabolus are actually going after the Shadow Priest. Valet is just going to disperse right away, realizing that situation would be way too much damage. He's going to trade. He's going to get the access to extra mobility to get in line of sight of Asgrath to secure crowd control onto the healer, stop him from healing. Acro gets the follow-up. Nixie could be in trouble. He realizes this, activates Cloak of Shadows right before being stunned. Still has evasion. This is where the cross-kill potential could happen at 32% dampening. Mana lead slightly for Asgrath. Valet holding on by a thread. Nixie as well. Acro just trying to force Nixie away, maybe pull an evasion or as many cooldowns as he can before Vendetta. Valet gets interrupted. Void Shift is his last line. Is he going to have to pull it? I think he's going to have to. He's cycloned at low health. And the thing is, if he uses Void Shift, Diabolus could switch targets. So Valet uses Void Shift. Acro anticipates the swap, activates evasion and Feint right before Nixie went for the swap, immuning the stun, and now he is on top of Nixie, who's also going to evasion, and now it's turning into a bit of a rogue race. Acro gets stunned up, Smoke Bomb gets dropped, Acro breaks out, gets in line of sight, but Poike gets caught in the polymorph. It's
nice
Dire Straits,
spell.
Fast Dispel snipes it, but Alec gets the follow-up, a third polymorph for good measure. Even still not enough. Acro holds on at 10%. Then Poike, he needs to commit the Iron Bark. He Iron Barks him on 5%. Is that going to be enough? Is Nixie the one who actually is going to die here?
No
Acro
way!
and Nixie both in so much trouble. Then Poike is cycloned. Asgrath dispels, but he's crowd controlled, horrified from the Vampiric Touch. Acro is somehow still alive at the end of that. Nixie is still somehow alive at the end of that. I actually think Nixie's in much more trouble. Asgrath cycloned, but Acro can't connect. Alec is holding Acro at bay with the Frost Mage snares and Frost Nova, using the Temporal Shield to absorb the swap to himself. Both teams surprisingly alive at this point.
Yeah, but we're at a healthy 40% dampening right now. Alec in a cyclone. Who's going to fall first? Valet, he has the dispersion rotated back up. He has the fade as well. He doesn't want to activate them too late, or he might have to overlap. There's a full kidney shot over on a Nixie with a Mind Bomb on Asgaroth. This could be the game-winning play coming in from Change My Mind. Nixie, he's on the run. Interrupt over onto Valet. Nice crowd control coming in from Diabolus. They're trying to reverse the pressure. And now it's Valet in trouble. He's already used the dispersion, not getting much healing from that as we are at 43% dampening. He's got the Greater Fade. Smoke Bomb drops in, and I think it's Valet that will fall. Maybe not, though. The Greater Fade and Iron Bark, he's had enough to keep him alive. Both teams pulling out miracles.
Mind control on 5%, so Nixie can't attack him and finish him. And Poike's out of Cyclone, but into a polymorph. Valet, there's no way, right? Is Acro just going to solo Nixie while Valet holds on by a thread? Doesn't look like it. Valet is still isolated. He's on the run, wraps around the corner, gets one, no, gets interrupted, and Alec is going to slap him to the dirt. Diabolus now up 2-1.
I mean, the game looked better from Change My Mind, but the matchup just doesn't seem favorable. It's something we've seen time and time again. And I mean, yes, in North America, the move versus Cloud9, in this specific matchup, I think they went 1-1.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's completely different teams playing a different way. The way that North Americans play is very alien to Europeans, clearly, at this stage. And I mean, Change My Mind here, they try it, and again, no success. They're playing against a really strong Rogue Mage Druid here. They just don't seem to have an answer. And if you don't have an answer for Rogue Mage Druid in the current meta, you're going to have problems.
I mean,
Well, the answer would be to mirror, but yeah. Honestly, if they don't win this game, I don't see what game they're going to win. I mean, there were so many times where I was like, okay, well, Acro's dead. After that Void Shift happened, he still survives. Okay, well, Nixie's dead. Oh, Okay, no, Nixie is not dead because the Frost Mage is just snaring up everybody, controlling everyone, and, you know, the Frost Mage being such a durable target himself can really put himself in a risky situation. And here, I mean, Delay does a beautiful mind control here, but Minpoike just sitting way too much crowd control. That last poly, though, he actually couldn't have done anything against about it, because if you time your polymorph perfectly out of a Cyclone, the Druid actually can shift it. So that was just a good play on Alec. However, prior to this, Minpoike, he did tank a few sheeps.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it wasn't the perfect game, but I mean, even if you're talking about shaving the sheep, like, it was not the perfect. It just doesn't look like the matchup's favored, right? Like, I don't think it was perfect on either side. But once again, the Rogue Mage Druid comes in, and I mean, the elephant in the room here is that they could just mirror. We've talked about it a little bit, but they don't seem confident in that matchup. Like, Spring Finals, you know, you remember Diabolus actually reverse swept Method Black on their Mage Log Druid. At any stage, Method Black could have just gone to a Rogue Mage Druid mirror. They didn't feel confident in it. This team just seems to have the upper hand in that matchup.
The thing that makes me so sad about it is at the early stages of the spring season this year, they were the only team running Rogue Mage. Everyone else, you know, jump ship Method Black, they were playing DHDK. You had teams like AWC, they were running Elemental, Frost Mage. You know, everyone seemed to just completely disregard the Rogue Mage. They were the only ones who sort of held it down. Although they would lose to some of those teams like the Demon Hunter Death Knight, they did a really good job. We said they were probably the best Rogue Mage Druid at that time. So I think they should have confidence in their ability. I mean, maybe in War Games they lose mirrors or whatever, but I feel like this is something they're going to have to figure out, because if you want to win the title,
you have to be able to beat it, right?
Exactly. I mean, if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. And if you can't do that, then they're just waiting to lose, in my mind.
Yeah, and I mean, with how competitive Europe is right now, you know, you've got Wildcard Gaming lurking in the waters, you've got Zyzon, you've got Method Black, you've got Diabolus, who you're now losing to. Change my mind, you could easily see them. You know, we've been hyping them up. They could drop down out of that top 4 just as easily. It's so competitive in both Europe and North America here. And I mean, I love the little lower third. We've got Devil's Advocate, because I mean, most people said that Change My Mind would win this one. Now we find Diabolus 2-1 up in the series, and they're looking great as well.
Yeah, I think Changed My Mind, although they came pretty close in that game, it seems so hard fought for something that feels disadvantaged. So why not run the mirror? Runes of Lordaeron selected here, and it would be a fitting final resting place, as it is a cemetery. The first time I'm going to be able to say that for
8.2. Love it. Yeah.
I'm very happy about that, at least. But if you're Changed My Mind,
I'm not.
I'm not.
you know
We were
what?
literally talking about that last night. We're like, yes, we haven't heard that line in such a long time.
He actually,
happy.
I'll be honest, during the open bracket, he messed it up once. Vanguard's actually had to correct
Luckily, Vanguards was there.
it. He was there
Otherwise,
to
an
save you,
opportunity would have been missed.
Yeah. Oh, well, very good. Well, Asgraf, Nixie, and Alec, once again, of course, will be locking in that
There it is.
Rogue Mage
There it
Druid. And now we've got the mirror, so we're excited about this one.
And if they win this game, I'm going to be really happy. Like, I'm going to be so... I mean, if they just get blown out of the water, we'll be like, okay, we get it. But
Yeah.
I hope Change My Mind, they put out a good fight and potentially even win this game, because I feel like they need that confidence moving forward. If they're just going to avoid the mirrors at all costs and keep running the Shadow Freeze Rogue, which just seemingly loses to Rogue Mage Druid, I don't understand how they could possibly expect to win these tournaments.
So which outcome changes our mind here? If they win, does it change our mind because we thought they should?
Well, even if it's close, the thing is, like, if Change My Mind plays this composition, even if they lose, if it's a close game and it looks like they're like evenly matched, they need to invest more time. Just play mirrors all day, like practice, do war games, play it on the ladder, because I don't understand how Diabolus could be so far ahead in matchups. Like, what is it that they do that's just so much better than what Change My Mind can put out? I mean, maybe Zico knows the answer.
They tunnel Druids.
They do tunnel Druids a lot. Normally that's the thing. I remember that's what Waz always used to say when I was talking to him. He's like, yeah, we're winning the whole game. You know, Riker has both his ice blocks, and then Chaz just gets kidneyed and dies. So, I mean, we'll have to see what happens here. Asgraf is known to be one of those Druids that just loves the versatility, loves to go all in aggro. Fried Kitty comes in though. Change My Mind. They need a victory here if they are to not go down to the lower bracket.
All right, let's see if they've got what it takes here. Change My Mind are forced into the mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest Rogue Mage Druid of them all? If Change My Mind can pull this off, then maybe it's going to work for them in the next series as well against Method Black, but they have to win 2 times against Diabolus, and who knows, maybe Diabolus change their composition. Maybe they have something in the tank as a counter pick in this particular matchup. Interesting honor talent selection here. I'm actually wondering what essences Minpoike is running, as Asgrath has Overgrowth currently and Minpoike doesn't. Actually, maybe I'm trying to update this again here, Ven. Mine's not updating in time.
Well, you let it update. I'll talk right now. Fried Kitty, Alec, they're just going to be spamming Frost Bolts at each other. And a cheap shot over onto Minpoike. Looks like Diabolus. They want to strike first blood. Kidney shot onto Fried Kitty. There's a lot of damage available. Minpoike caught into the full Cyclone. Are they going to be able to get the crowd control they need? Beautiful interrupt coming in from Fried Kitty, denying that. Now a big swap over onto Nixie. He's caught into a kidney shot, already having to trade out his Vanish. That's a big victory for Change My Mind.
Big victory for Change My Mind. According to my inspector, Minpoike also has overgrowth, so it's there it is. It has now shown up. Fried Kitty down at half health, taking a beating right now. Smoke Bomb gets dropped by Nixie, looking to force an ice block from Fried Kitty. If they don't get it, though, that is going to be dire straits. They at least get the Gladiator Safeguard, which looks to be enough to keep Fried Kitty going. Minpoike now cycloned up, denying some of that damage reduction of his Iron Bark. I don't think it's going to really result in too much there. Just trying to take stock of the cooldown, see if there's any significant leads. Not really any on either front. Smoke Bomb's out of the way. Still a threat from Nixie's Vendetta. That is the biggest threat right now for Change My Mind, so I'm wondering how they're going to deal with it. Maybe just crowd control Nixie. Maybe they pressure him. I mean, there's multiple strategies here in this particular mirror. You could either do a Druid race, you could do a Rogue race, or a Mage race, or some mixture of the three of those strategies. Right now, Change My Mind, both teams are going for the Druid race. Asgrath gets swapped to, and Minpoike gets swapped to. Minpoike is disrespecting this one, not bark skinning while stunned, although he was in bear form and it reduced enough damage, so he's trying to get away with that added effect. Cyclone's Asgrath, but he's still being attacked. Quite a risky maneuver to try and go for crowd control this low on health. Manages to secure it and build pressure for his team onto Nixie. Another Cyclone as well, but Iron Bark activated, and with Feint as well should be more than enough. And Minpoike realizes that and cyclones Nixie instead. Cyclone stops all damage and all healing, so if there is a huge amount of defense activated by the team in this situation, Iron Bark and Feint using Cyclone and Nixie just holds his health at a low point and denies the added defense from those cooldowns.
Yep. Fried Kitty under fire. What is Acro going to be able to do? He lands a kidney shot. See damage right now. Alec and Nixie, they're putting on way more pressure than Fried as well as Acro. So good job by Diabolus in this matchup so far. There's good control. Blind over on Minpoike. He's forced to trinket out. But if we look at health, both teams are basically fully reset. Vendetta is available for Nixie as he gets bursted down. Good damage coming in from Acro. He's actually committed to Vendetta. Nixie forced to trade out the evasion as Asgrath's still in crowd control. Overgrowth gets traded out. Is he going to use the Iron Bark? Doesn't look like he has to just yet. We're about 3 minutes into this game. Interrupt on Asgrath. Nixie still not completely topped off, but I think he's going to be able to walk away.
Nixie's still not topped off, but now actually his entire team crowd controlled. Could be devastating here. Change My Mind. Try and put Game 4 in their favor and move to a Game 5. If the mirror ends up being what they needed all along, I can't help but feel that they should have tried it so much sooner, especially against Method Black. Minpoike, though, gets swapped to by Diabolus. They look to close it out. Gladiator Safeguard Absorb needs to be enough, but the Gladiator's Maledict's absorbing most of the heals. Minpoike Shadow Melts, tries to buy himself a second, jumps around the corner. Fried Kitty supports him with Polymorph on Alex, stun on Nixie. Minpoike is across midfield, but Ursul's Vortex at the moment. Nixie gets over and interrupts him. If Alec gets over here, it's going to be game over. Where is Alec? He needs to get here soon. Star Search from Asgarath. Nixie shot steps in. Alec gets in position. Ice Nova Comet Storm. Lights out for Minpoike. Diabolus advancing the upper bracket, and that is trouble for the European region because Diabolus was actually the lowest of all the points in the tournament right now, and now they have an opportunity to pass everybody.
It's just that I can't believe he died there. Like it looked like he'd got across the entire map. It was great peels. You were calling it out, you know, Fried Kitty with the sheeps. There was a stun onto the rogue. I don't know how Nixie got back over to Minpoike when he was still 30% life. I feel like he must have been super greedy with his globals there or something. But ultimately, I guess we kind of see why people won't mirror Diabolus because they just seem so good at this healer race.
Yep, it seems like they're super good at the healer race, and when you do the healer race as well, you kind of shut down the enemy from doing like a rogue race or a mage race, just because you get so much cross crowd control onto the enemy mage. Now, we're going to see exactly what happened here, but I think that Minpoike dropped a vortex that he was just standing too close to. I'm not entirely sure here. So Minpoike, very, 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 very close call here, but he is going to survive, and nice kidney shot here onto Nixie is going to allow him to actually get away. He's line of sighting everybody. He gets here. Okay. Oh, no. Okay, so that was Asgrath's Vortex, actually. Okay. So, yeah, Nixie just sprinted over. That's, yeah. He's still advantaged, too. So, I don't know. Nice Ring of Frost by Fried Kitty. Sniping Nixie, but Alec is, of course, crowd controlling Fried Kitty. so you can't resheep the Dispel.
Yeah.
That Nyx is going to have uptime and kill him.
Yeah, just really good Vortex, I guess, at the end from Asgraf. I mean, Poike didn't anticipate it. I guess he could have just line of sighted around the tomb if not. But at the end of the day, I think it's fair to say that matchup was looking pretty in favor of Diabolus from start to finish. There was never a point where we were scared for Diabolus' health, and they will advance now through to the upper bracket, meaning that in Sunday, it's going to be Method Black versus Diabolus.